curious about neglect. Would neglect just be like a slower contraction? I mean, I was looking at going down, somebody disappears and you're kind of, they're not over you, but there's a...
Yes, so let's actually shift to another handout, a handout, which says, that looks like this. And it's called Inner Map, Functions of Each Level of Consciousness. So going back to your inner map for a moment, notice the line, which is this horizontal purple line. So, people talk about this, right? Below the line, above the line. Our great friend Barry is, what is your Dutch name of your book? It's called?
Boven de lijn.
Boven de lijn. Above the line. Right? So the idea of having an above the line, but we know it's not really above the line, it's just expanded, right? Versus contracted. But there really is a difference between reactive brain and creative brain. There is a physiological difference that is so clear that we all know it. That at any given moment, like, anybody in the reactive brain right now? I'm a little bit in agitated fear. Anybody else in reactive brain? Cool. So you're chill. Okay, a couple. Yeah. It's like, so what? It's just a thing. And we can thank our brain stems and our limbic systems for that. Because somehow you've perceived some little bit of threat. I don't know. For you. Like, who knows? Doesn't matter. So your brain is, and your body, of course. I'm overusing this word brain. I'm not happy with it either. Just so you know. It's a place to start. It's because really, it's this part of our brain, this limbic reactive brain, that I think gets us into so much trouble. So that's why I'm going in that direction so much. But please know, I know we've got, yes, the little bodies, I know, there they are, helping us. Yeah, so it's a place to start. But to keep in mind that everything below that line, which is what I'm calling reactive brain, okay? Now look at all those states below the line. So imagine that all of those states are in stress brain. Because again, you can feel it, that adrenaline that you were just talking about. Adrenaline, cortisol, these hormones that are not good for us, everybody. If you're in reactive brain, you're marinating yourself in this kind of toxic soup. That works okay. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do. Get your muscles going and your pulse racing and everything. It's like, let's go. But it's not good for you. And thank you, Bruce Lipton. It's one or the other. Either you are in a stress response or you are in a healthy rebuild response. Okay? It's one or the other. Exactly. Yeah. So to start to have some respect for your own body and what it's trying to help you with, but also that if you let it if you get yourself on that runaway train that I was definitely in that first few days after the election. I mean, I am aware of this stuff, and Kath and I, she just left. Bye. That first night when we realized what was going on, we kind of huddled together. All night, basically neither of us could sleep. We were freezing to death. It couldn't get warm. Took out a bath, couldn't get warm. Like I knew what was happening. Oh, I'm in frozen fear. I'm still in frozen fear. Yep. And I think I was for really in and out of it for a few days after that. I think I can still go into it. Not as much. I think I'm mostly past that. My body's doing what it does. It's okay.
One thing I wanted to add from having had Bruce on our Body Intelligence Summit a couple of times, I love the way he talks about that your cells are either protecting or growing. And I love that because one, it's a verb.
Yeah.
And two, it's a way, it's like the best way I can care for myself right now from my state of consciousness is I'm protecting. And then growing. I like the inherent movement in both of those, so I wanted to add that into the mix, because when I used some other terms, he came back to growing and protecting.
That's really great.
Which is, it kind of eliminates the bad.
Yes, because we would not be sitting here today if it weren't for our reactive brain. We wouldn't, you wouldn't, I wouldn't, we'd be dead. Good job, you made it. I've stopped thinking, well, most of the time, of myself as getting older. I just think I'm really good at staying alive. So there's some things that happen when we're in reactive brain. I'm just deciding between two places to go. Qualities, I'll just go there first. Narrow focus, what's wrong? Highly recommend the book called Open Focus Brain. Totally changed how I think of things. Because narrow focus, what's wrong, what's wrong? So can we think of what's wrong right now? What's wrong? What's wrong with the world? Climate change, there we go. Get your reactive brain going. Right, what's wrong? And once we're in what's wrong, we always can find something else that's wrong. Because that's what narrow focus does. Requires caffeine. Right? Because it's hard to do that all day. If you're working on a computer, right, you're doing that. What's wrong? Is that a B or a D? I can't tell. Right? So open focus. We're going to do a little moment of open focus. There's Barry over there. He's kind of doing it. I like your version of this, Barry. So a little open focus. So put your hands in front of you. Okay, without moving your head or your eyes, so you're staring at your hands. Okay, it's a little tricky. I'll go cross-eyed somewhere in the middle of this. So move your hands like this and look at them. So you're going to watch them. Okay, now I can see. All right, see, I just went cross-eyed. Okay. And now I'm going peripheral. Okay, that's what I'm going for. So now, like I had to look out. I couldn't look down. Keep going, peripheral, peripheral. Keep going, keep looking at them, your hands. Kind of blur out a little bit. Right, you're literally shifting your brain waves from beta to alpha by doing this. Feel different? But what's wrong? Right, it's hard to go there. Oh. So, but reactive brain wants to know what's wrong because it's about threat. Right? But you can do that anytime you want during this. Yes. Nope. Okay. It's urgent. We can't think very well. I'm starting to think of ourselves as being sort of cognitively disabled when we're in reactive brain. Because we are. We don't have access to this nice gray matter in the same way. It's going, the blood flow is going elsewhere. So terrible time to try to solve a problem, which isn't a problem if you're in creative brain anyway. Uses up energy, and we're immediately looking for who is our enemy.
When you say use up energy, what's that?
It costs us. It uses up our energy. Thank you. Depletes energy. Thank you.
Use a lot of glucose. Brain uses a lot of glucose.
This is a verb, I got it.
Uses a lot of glucose, says Dr. Vandana. Thank you. And here's one other thing I want you all to be sure to take from this. Can I borrow your hand? Mm-hmm. If I'm below the line, I am in a field of resistance. I push, other things push back. I didn't have to ask Audrey to push back. She's a plant, not really. Because people do that. We immediately will push back. We will, I promise you. Even if it looks like we're not. Sure, I'll do that. So that's a thing to know, that if I'm in reactive brain and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to change something, that what I'm doing is stepping out into a field of resistance. Now, people like that sensation. I saw somebody had created a news feed, something called resistance. Like, we want to resist this thing that's happening, this bad thing that's happening. The problem is going to use up a lot of energy going not very far, all right? Because if you're pushing, something is going to push back. So know that. It's a thing. So all that stuff below the line, the sadness, anger, fear, is in a field of resistance. We are resisting reality in some way. Doesn't mean we shouldn't. If I'm sad because my mother died, I'm resisting the reality that I'm thinking about when I'm not going to see her again, blah, blah. I'm resisting. I'm glad I still feel sad 20 years later. And it uses up energy. I'm resisting something. So those great emotions, they're wonderful. They're who we are. And understand that when we are in those states, we are resisting something. So it doesn't mean we shouldn't, okay? I don't mean to say that at all. I do mean be conscious of what you're doing with your energy. Okay? So there's one last piece that I want to show you about reactive brain. I'll do a little on creative brain, then we're going to get up and play, okay? So we're just about done with this part.